Oh yes. No one expected this comeback, did they? What is it, 5 years later? Rehashing the YouTube channel. People were wanting it, right? People were needing it. Just kidding. Disclaimer, this isn't me kickstarting my YouTube career. You'll know if I started to attempt to do that, and it would work, and I would be successful and be rich. So just putting out there, that's not what this is. This is me wanting to let loose on all my thoughts and feelings for probably, fuck knows how long this will be, maybe an hour and a half. I'm going to point out the elephant in the room first. I've upped the quality since I was 13 years old. Okay. I'm also doing this on a day where I've got a cough, and a coughing fit is quite likely to happen at some point. Good timing, maybe. So yeah. Hope we all enjoy this little microphone, by the way, because it is now my life, and maybe it will be the start of the YouTube channel kicking off, just so I can constantly use it. Anyway, let's get into the topic at hand. Why Emma's decided at the ripe age of 19 to whip up a video. And I'll tell you for why. It's because I do like chatting to my phone, and I like a yap. And I've actually got things to yap about this year. This whole year. My life has changed drastically. Basically, I'm now an adult, and I'm on a gap year. And that's the topic of today, okay? I want to speak about my gap year. I want people to know why I've done it, what I've done in it, because now people are coming back from uni, ready for the summer, and you have the like great conversations where it's like, oh, so what do you do now? You at uni? No, I'm not at uni. I'm on a gap year. Oh, you travelling? No. Then what are you doing? And that is the question that I will be answering today. This isn't going to put any shade on anyone who's decided to go into uni straight away, or taking a gap year but not doing anything of what I'm going to talk about, or doing something completely different, or taking a lifelong gap year, okay? This ain't a diss. This is literally me just yapping about myself, my favourite topic. So let's start. Why I chose to do this gap year, okay? Because a lot of people probably think, oh, she's just lazy, she doesn't want to go into school. We all saw how A-levels inflicted my brain. Well, it was a tough time. But when you think about it, okay, we are at, like, in education since the age of 4 to 18. That's crazy. Some of us still 19, okay, depends. But that is nuts. And when I've thought about, obviously, primary school, it doesn't really count as like hardcore education, but your brain's developing, right? It takes a toll on your body, getting up at God knows what hour to like get into school in secondary for 9 o'clock. It's tough, all right? I'm not a morning person. That makes it seem like I'm taking the gap year just so I can sleep in. That's not true, partly. But no, the massive time that we spend in school is actually insane, with no breaks. And in my head, I didn't want to go to 2 years of tough education, that is A-levels, the bane of most people's existences. I wanted a break. I wanted to be able to relax, separate myself from a school environment, and learn a little bit about myself, which I think I've smashed this year, but we'll get into that. Obviously, personally as well, for me, my school experience was like a bit chaotic. Secondary school, obviously, we're going to talk about the big dead dad. So I didn't have like, and I felt like, I always say this when I talk about my grief and all that, I felt like I haven't had time to properly process my life and those events that actually happened with it, okay? So I also wanted to take the gap year to really delve into my grief, which we know I can talk about all day, any day. And really focusing on how it's affected me and what I can do about certain things now that I'm an adult. And it was the 5-year anniversary this year, so it was kind of perfect timing. But yeah, my dad got diagnosed with cancer when I was year 7, and then he passed away when I was in year 9, and then COVID happened. So it wasn't like a normal, I know really none of us has had a normal school experience now because of COVID. But yeah, my events before that obviously shook up the brain pan a little bit. And now I've actually had time to really delve into it. and process my grief that is now completely different to as I was a child, to as now I'm an adult. So yeah, I just want a break. I wanted to relax, and let me tell you, it has been the best year of my life, and it's quite sad that it's ending soon. Obviously, only doing this in June, but I like to say that my gap year literally started. We'll say it started at the start of September, um, because that's when everything else started changing with people going to uni. So yeah, this isn't going to be me also like listing off the tiny, tiny things I've done in my gap year. Like, oh, I got my belly button pierced. Oh, I decorated my back wall, which I'm showing off now. Look how great it is. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more of the big things that have happened, the mental changes I've like had, the different experiences that I've decided to take on, and yeah, it should be a fun conversation with myself if it doesn't get too uncomfortable and then I forget everything I've done in the year. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to see if I don't need to cut any of this, and hopefully it's just a constant flow of me talking. Whether that will be a case is definitely not true because I just stumbled on my words there. I'm real, let's be real. So I'm going to start off with actually the huge physical changes I've had. Obviously, people who are watching this will definitely know me in real life and have probably known me for quite a while. So, whatever. But yeah, the tattoos, I've now got in total 4 whole tattoos, and it was one of the first things I did in my gap year was get this one here. So I'm going to explain every single one and obviously show you each one, say any meaning, any stories. But yeah, when I turned 18, my biggest thing was, oh my god, yay, I can finally get tattooed. So I really ran with that. I do want more. Sadly, it's an expensive hobby. Yeah, style. It's an expensive style to want. So we're gonna have. It's gonna be quite a long while probably till I get my next one. Saying that, probably be in the next like 2 months. Fingers crossed. I also still live with my mother, who has shared her opinions on the tattoos. So I don't like to push it too much. I don't want to push my luck. I still have to live here until September. So anyway, let's start. I can't remember the exact date. I want to say maybe like no, it was like the 7th of September. It was the beginning of September. I decided to get this tattoo right here. It is 5 inches. Is it 5 inches? Yes, 5 inches big. It looks like that. It was the first tattoo I got. It is absolutely stunning. Got it in a place in Bristol. And it is a outline of a photo of me and my dad, which I would go and get, but I can't be bothered, and the photos over there is quite gross for some reason. So yeah, that's what that was. The minute I got it, I was like, okay, tattoos are going to be a huge part of my life. Definitely, it is my favorite thing I've ever got, and a lot of people obviously liked it from the get-go because it's got a lot of meaning. Even my very traditional nan was like, I like that. She said the quote, and she said something that was like, oh my god. She was like, that's not a tattoo, that's a memory. And I was like, nan, that's really sweet. So yeah, it's had a lot of positive looks on it, and yeah, it is probably the favorite part of my body now. So I got that one. We'll do it in chronological order. Then, wow, this really was the second. I've only got 4. Crikey, they was just so spread out. Saying that, I got this one in November. Part of the gap year gang, we took a trip to Edinburgh for 2 nights, 3 nights. Edinburgh's an expensive city, I'll just say that. I don't want to reveal the prices of what I've spent on each of these, because this is probably the most painful one. But yeah, one of the things we said, we were like, oh, we could try and get a walk-in tattoo at one point. So me and Taliri, we got into this place, and luckily they had enough room for 2 of us, so Neve sadly opted out. But after knowing the price, probably a smart decision. But yeah, I got 2 little clouds. The update, like my tattoo style, or hopefully the plan is, this arm is literally for meaningful ones. So I'm gonna need to come up with some meanings for some of them at some point. But yeah, and this is just designs that I liked because I literally whipped up my Pinterest tattoo wall board board. And I saw these and I was like, that's one that I want. It's just a little, there's no meaning to it. It's literally just clouds. I liked the design, and that's probably going to be like the type of style that I'm sticking with for this arm. Then fast forward to March. Obviously, we'll get on to this. Will be a huge part of this video. But I started volunteering at like from here it looks tiny, but then it looks bigger there. It's a real size, like crazy. I don't know the word, but like it really blows my mind when I see it because it looks really small on my arm right now. Like when I look down on it here, but on there it looks huge. It's yeah. I don't know how big this one actually is. But anyway, if anyone who actually speaks to me in real life will know, I will bring this topic up whenever I can, because I started volunteering at a falconry in October, and then had a massive relaunch, changed name, changed logo, changed everything in March, and I got the new logo tattooed on me. So that is if you want to know the specifics, an outline of a kestrel, and it is the logo of the falconry that I volunteer at now, and hopefully will do forever because I fucking love it. But yeah, we'll get more. That will have way more detail in, obviously. And then the most recent one, I've got a little matchstick with a heart on at the back of my arm now, which is matching with one of my best friends who I've known since the ripe age of 4. So big. We got this one very recently, which is always a fun, like, activity to get a tattoo with someone that you know. Like me and Taliri, we weren't in the same place when we got them done. No, we were in the same studio, but she wasn't in the room with me. Still a really fun experience. He was literally right next to me on the bed when I was getting this one done. So it was brilliant. So yeah, that's the tattoos. Obviously, the other thing about physical appearance is my massive ass glow up. Yeah, I know everyone's thinking about it, right? So am I. Sorry. But I am proud of it because another like mental change that I'll probably talk about later this year is properly realizing like what self-love can truly like feel like. And I'm very proud of how far I've come this year and how I've really decided to accept the body that I am in. And yeah, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I've managed to like improve this mentality because school wasn't the best place to try and ever explore that, in my opinion. Which is why the gap year has been so good, because I've properly been separated from the school environment where you're surrounded by people 24/7. And now it's just like, yeah, this is me. I'm chilling. I should be happy with this and everything. On a less deep note, obviously I dyed my hair. I have had literally pitch black hair since 2021, and then I thought this year, Jesus Christ, let's change it up. And you can't really see it from where you are now. It was red, but obviously I've washed it loads. It's kind of faded, and now it's near enough my natural. It's light, basically. Okay. Because I look back at photos of me with black hair, and I'm thinking, Christ, so sorry, that slipped out. I was just like, Christ, no one decided to tell me the black hair kind of washed me out a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it was a slay at some points, but when I'm pasty white in the winter, it wasn't a good look in my opinion. But now I'm very content with the light hair, and it's obviously harder to manage, but it's so much better, and I can have more fun with it because I've always wanted to dye my hair some cool colours rather than natural ones. And now I can do that because my hair's actually light enough to show some sort of other pigment. But yeah, that's the fun, like the physical changes that I've had. And I've just, yeah, become way more content with myself. So I guess we'll briefly go into the mental side of things now because it's the boring stuff, and then I can talk about all the fun stuff I've done this year. Because that's what this video is, a massive showing off point. Just kidding, kind of. But yeah, the mental changes I've had this year have been just unreal. because I've finally, like, I don't know how to say it without sounding really cringe. Um, but that's just, I think, talking about mental health in general can, like, make you think that. But I've truly realised what it feels like to be happy and relaxed this year. Like, throughout school, you've always got something that's just causing a little bit of stress, whether it's a friend group, whether it's homeworks, like teachers, whatever. There is a little bit of stress on your mind constantly. And with this, with no proper responsibilities, I've managed to properly just sit back and just be like, this is my life. Let me do some fun stuff about it. Let me keep it interesting for myself. And I have bloody loved it. Like, I have loved life. And I've kept saying to people, I'm just like, I'm genuinely so grateful with where I am right now because I'm happy and I am content. And I'm just, I'm chuffed to bits, really. Like I said at the beginning, this was my dad's 5th year of not being here. And from being 13 years old when he left to now being, I was 18 on his anniversary, 18, and to being an adult, it's mad. Because, like I said, with school, when I was grieving that, school was still a massive part of it. It weren't like, oh, you can't do any homework, can't do this. Don't get me wrong, they were helpful, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I have time to process that I've just lost a parent. It was like, no, you've still got a lot of things to go, like, to do and to continue your education. And then COVID happened, and COVID, I would say, I did have probably a massive mental shift, not for the best, because I did start therapy. And then I also realised when I was in therapy, I was like, oh, this woman, God bless to her, but I don't think she's benefiting me a lot. It was nice. This is why I talk to my phone constantly, is because it's nice to just talk and just to let everything that's in my head out and put it into perspective just by putting it into words, putting it out there. And then I can either come back to why I'm feeling like the way I am, or I can just leave it like that and I still feel a bit of relief. So it was great to just talk to the therapist and just yap at her. But when it came to actually helping me, I was like, I'm paying £100 a session for this, love. I don't think your head's in the right place either. Which again leads me on to my next realization of my career and what I want to do in life, which I knew this from ages ago, but I've constantly been umming and ahhing with the thought of uni. I ended up changing where I've gone, and where I've applied to and all that this year, because my plan was after I got into Swansea Uni and I was going to be starting there in September, went to Swansea Uni, liked it, but really got thinking, do I want to be this far away from home? Do I want to have to give up the falconry now that I'm loving? And I've only been there for not even a year yet. Do I really want to give that up and then leave? Like, no, not particularly. So I started looking at unis closer to home, and obviously ones that are in my grade boundary level, because A levels was fun. And so BAFS, but I said about 50 million times. I can hear it. I'll try and stop. I'm not going to. But yeah, then applied to BAFS Bar and got in. And it means I'm not taking a foundation year anymore. I would have been taking a foundation year in Swansea. So straight into first year, studying psychology. And then I can find my way to then become a children's therapist at some point, which is the path that I have chosen to take. There it is again. I'm very happy with it. Okay, I genuinely think, hopefully, I can do some good in being that position. And obviously, with the life experience that I've had, there's going to be certain topics that I would really like to help other people with. Bloody Jesus. But yeah, we all know how much I can speak about grief for days. It's not a taboo topic to me at all. When someone mentions my dad or asks about my dad, it's fine. I'm not going to break down and start shaking in a corner. I can talk about it. Obviously, I'll probably get emotional. I'm talking about the death of a loved one. but I can still talk, and I like to spread my experiences and the wisdom that I have, or I like to think that I have, and help other people, because grief is something that we will all go through at some point. And there's loads of different ways you can deal with it and experience it. And there's no set answer. And I would love to just put that wisdom on others, especially younger people, because of the age I was when I dealt with it. So yeah, that's the career plan. The other career plan that I was going to go through, this was before I finished A levels. I was thinking of becoming a zookeeper, or doing something to do with animals. And sadly, the more like life relies on money these days, the money is in psychology and mental health and all that. Not doing it for the money reasons, that would be really bad. Doing it because I would like to help people. But that compared to zookeeping, it has another benefit, which is the money side. Which is why at the beginning of the gap year, I was like, I need to do something with animals to satisfy this want, and hope that it doesn't fuel anything. So in October, I volunteered at the then West of England Falconry, which is now called the Bird of Prey Project. And I just started it, and I was like, didn't know what to expect. We went there as customers, and then I asked about volunteering, and they were like, yes, we take in volunteers. And it's definitely been the best decision I've ever made in my whole entire life. I have loved every single second of being there. I have learned so much. I am grateful for every person who is within that place. And yeah, I've met some great people, friends for life. They're tattooed on my body. I think that says enough, really. Yeah, and I never want to give that up. I would happily volunteer that for until I die, realistically. And yeah, being able to do something with animals, and not even the animals I expected to work with. I've always said I would volunteer at Longmeat, but Longmeat is quite a bloody drive away, and I'm an anxious driver as it is. Luckily, the Bird of Prey project is 20 minutes down the road, and a 5-minute walk from the Bath Spa campus that I'll be on. So it works out in the end, guys. It really does. But yeah, that place, there's literally not enough. I don't have enough words to put into place what that has done for me. Confidence wise, just happiness wise, loving life with the animals. Yeah, it's experiences that I will never ever forget. And it's so cool working with Bird of Prey. We have hawks and falcons, and then owls. Do more stuff with the owls. It's just interesting. If I was at Longleat, be doing stuff with mammals, and at a broad way. Sorry, my mum's just come upstairs. I'm not going to hide what I'm doing, but it only makes me aware of what I'm saying, and that's scary. Anyway, that might get cut. But anyway, yeah, the Bird of Prey project is great. I've come out of my comfort zone and spoken to loads of different new people, made tons of new friends. They're the loveliest group of people I've ever got to work with in anything, and I'm extremely grateful. So if you're watching this, go follow the Bird of Prey project on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. Subscribe to them, give them loads of love. Come and visit, because it's a great place, and they do great things for Bird of Prey. And yeah, I do owe them my life. I will forever be in their debt. So yeah, that's the little falconry love. But yeah, doing something that I can do, or say now that I've done with animals, just ticks off a little satisfactory box in my brain. It's not like I've spent the gap year and just been like, oh, well, I am going to just relax. That would be fine. But I've done something that I'm not going to have a what if situation anymore. What if I decided to do stuff with animals? What if I decided to do this instead of that? So yeah, I'm still trying out with uni. We shall see how it goes, obviously. So sorry. A lot of people probably know that I'm not the most academic person ever. I think all my teachers will say that. And when I see them again and go, yeah, I did get into uni, by the way, probably a lot of them will be shocked. But we're going to try uni out. You never know unless you try. And the best thing is, it is Bath Spa. It is around 20 minutes from my actual house. I am moving out because I want the independence. it's not the end of the world if I suddenly look at it and think, I don't want to do that actually. It's not my type of thing. If it causes any damage to me mentally, I will be out of there. It's all about bettering yourself, guys. You've got to think about yourself these days. Yeah, God, yapping's great until you need to think about what other things you need to yap about, and then it becomes like a big yapping ball of shit. I was going to try and segue into netball, but don't really know how. Just did because I've mentioned it now. The other thing that I continued doing this year is continuing my love for my absolute favourite sport in the world, which is netball. Still with my local club that I was in during A levels, and that's still thriving. The difference this year is I became a captain for one of the teams, my team, my best thing ever. And like I said, this year growing for my confidence wise and everything, pushing myself out there a little bit, it's been insane. And netball is really, I just love it. Okay, it's great for fitness and everything else, but the group of ladies that were in my team were just the best team I've ever been a part of. The bond that we all shared and had for each other, and the love, the support, the teamwork was there every single training session, every single match. Being captain, I have to really put myself in like a level head of like putting people in certain positions during matches, making the changes that I think are necessary if my coach isn't present, and also building up my team as like a morale type thing, because my team was filled with like new experienced netball players, and I just liked building the confidence, knowing like, girls, you can do this. You don't need to be playing netball for like years to feel good while playing it. Like, you guys are doing great. And it was really fun, and my game as like a player myself really, really improved. It was the best season I've ever had in netball, and I've been playing since I was like 13. I won 2 awards because of it at the end of season thing, which I'm very grateful for. It was a lovely, lovely evening and a lovely surprise. I do like some validation, and when I like believe I have done well, who doesn't love a little trophy? So I was very proud of myself. So that's the kind of like going back to like the physical changes as well. I also joined the gym this year, which was more of a regular thing near the beginning. I will say that. And now it's kind of trailed off a little bit, but that's because I got another job and I haven't really been finding the time. I would love to get back into it, but I have to say, going to the gym at the beginning really did up my netball game straight away. I felt the effects. And like I said, body confidence wise, I did start feeling better in my body. Obviously, it's not like I've got like biceps, like that's not impressive, right? That's just my arm. And my muscles aren't huge. I don't have a 6-pack all of a sudden. I didn't grind the gym, but I went to the gym as another activity. It was fun, always went with friends. And yeah, I did start feeling the strength and the change in my netball game, which again improved my mentality, because I am the type of person that if I'm bad at something, it ruins me and it ruins the love I have for that thing. And netball this year, globally, like internationally, has grown for everyone. And I've loved watching netball matches on the TV, which have become more available. And I could talk about netball for absolute years on end and talk about why I don't think it's the most popular sport to some people. Do I want to get that? Well, we can dabble. But it just being a whole, like, it is a women's dominated sport, okay? And a lot of people won't know this. There are men's teams and there are mixed teams. Men do play netball. Obviously, you just won't see it a lot because men look at the sport and think that's not a real sport. I could point out any Instagram video of any netball like match ever, and there will be about 20 just misogynistic comments about women in the sport and what the actual sport is like. No, you can't do this, you can't do that, it's not a real sport. It is a real sport. Just because women mostly play it doesn't make it not a real sport. It really pisses me off when people don't give netball a chance, because it's a great game. And like I said, it's a women's dominated sport. I had the pleasure of, I won a competition and I went to see a Super League match live at the Team Bath University. Sadly, the Team Bath netball team has now been cut. I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole thing that a lot of people won't give a shit about, sadly. But yeah, I watched netball live with my mum. I met 2 England Roses players now, which was insane. They were lovely. And just to feel the atmosphere in that, like, arena, not really arena, but it was just great. I love supporting women in sport, and I love the Lionesses, don't get me wrong. And a lot of people do now watch women's football, which is great. But I think the other reason they watch it is because, like, football is a sport by itself that men and women can now play. If you watch like a clip or women's game, there will still be a comment going, "Oh, men's is way better," blah blah blah, because you've still got something to compare it to. Whether it was with netball, you mostly see women play it, so no one can go, "Oh well, men blah blah blah, men's is better than this." And viewership for the Netball World Cup last year did go up insanely high, which is great. Didn't get the viewership that I would have loved it to get. The sport is still growing, it's still at like a base level. But a lot of people just don't give it a chance. They'll say it's a knockoff basketball. They won't bother reading into the rules. They won't like get into any of the nitty gritty netball, anything like that. No one gives it a chance, and I generally think that's because women play it. So yeah, what I have loved is introducing a lot of new people into the sport, and just like me and my mum's thing have become is watching netball on a Friday or Saturday evening. We will sit and we will watch a match and we will comment and we keep in touch with like England news, Australia news, and we will talk about all the international. And there's so many different countries that are now growing their netball game, like many African countries as well. They're coming up and they've got some amazing players, and the sport is really growing internationally, and it just needs to keep going up. And I really hope in the next few years it will do that, because there should be some pretty big shifts coming. But anyway, this isn't a netball political rant, as much as I'd love it to be. Yeah, I became captain of my netball team, and I've never had so much fun. There was a point a few years ago, my love of netball did slowly die out, mainly because I wasn't improving anywhere. I wasn't playing a position that I enjoyed. I was just thinking of myself as shit, which is not a healthy mentality to have when you're trying to excel at a sport. And now I play a position that I'm cracking at, and I have a great time. I have fun, and I love playing with the people I play with. So yeah, netball has really boosted me this year. I don't want to give it up, and my plan is when I go to uni, I will join the netball team. And luckily, because I'm still just as local as I would be at home, I may be able to continue the club that I play for now still. God, a bit gassy, so sorry. But that will come with time, whether I know if I can continue that or not. What else have I done in the gap year? Because I know those were the specific things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, jobs. Obviously, I still work. You need to fund these lifestyles, unfortunately. And this is what I said. I tweeted out the other day. I was like, why does fun things have to cost money? Because it's gutting. Oh my god, I've just remembered my dream from last night. I don't know, I was at my favourite theme park. That's just made me depressed because that's not true. Christ. That's a tangent, that's unnecessary, but you're welcome. Yeah, I kept the job that I've always had. I got another job. And I've just quit that job actually. My last shift is in 2 days' time, so take of that what you will. It was great just to earn some extra money and meet new people again. And it was also a mind numbing job, I have to say, but it was still fun. Still a great group of people I worked with. I wouldn't change it. Well, I would because I quit. But my other job, if you don't know, I waitress for weddings. And that's been fun because this year I've been put on bar shifts more. So I'm now a legal adult. Don't know if I've mentioned. But those have been fun. Weddings compared to any other hospitality thing is just unreal. You can't beat it. Loads of drunk people coming up, chatting. Don't get me wrong, we have some weddings where it's not big drinkers, but what I like about my job is that I can talk to guests for England about anything. Am I the most professional? Some people would probably say no. I would like to say yes. I keep it a good balance. But I just like talking to the new guests, and then obviously being on the bar, completely different to front of house. Building my confidence in that has been fun. And again, I work with my best friends, so you can't really go wrong. Uh, yeah, it has been fun. Nice to earn some money. And then the other job that I got, I was a cleaner, so it was a completely shift. But it was great to have a new perspective on life, meet new people from different backgrounds, and all that, and just really understanding life a bit more, which I think is what the gap year has been. Just understanding what life is about, and it's about having fun. And I think I've successfully done that this year. Like I keep saying, it's just been so nice to enjoy like living so much. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it during school, but when you realise how much like time and effort, sorry, we're back. I coughed. Just knowing how much time school takes up and just how much work your brain is doing constantly about God knows what stuff that's not even important, and to just really be able to just sit back and chill, smile, laugh, sing, dance, go clubbing, no responsibilities apart from work, has been brilliant. And I truly recommend it. This isn't me pushing a gap year onto anyone. If you went straight into uni, fair play. Or if you're thinking of maybe being on the fence of a gap year or university, I can't recommend taking a gap year enough, because it just broadens your eyes a little bit, broadens your horizons, makes life 20 times more enjoyable, and you can really realize stuff about yourself before you push yourself into a completely new environment like uni. And I think I will find uni a lot more easy to like adjust to, because I decided to take the gap year and I found more stuff out about myself and all that jazz. I think that's just great to know. Obviously, you don't have to take a gap year. If you want to go straight into uni, that is absolutely fine. But it's always good to think about the balance. You know what I mean? Just try new things out. Because usually, like when you choose your A levels and your options and all that, you're very young. The amount of people I speak to being like, "Oh, what do you want to do when you're older?" You know, we are older. What do you want to do? They're like, "Oh, I have no idea." You don't need to know. You don't need to apply to a uni to do a course that you could end up hating or you could end up loving, but you don't know, and you're just thinking, "Oh, I'm just doing it for the sake of it." Take some time out to actually think about life, because luckily I did do stuff to do with the animals, and I wouldn't choose to do that in uni, mainly because it's mostly biology based, and we know how much I get on with biology, aka I don't. But it's nice to have the balance, because if I really sake, I ran out of storage just as that cut off. That's annoying. That's fine. What was I even yapping about? Just loving life. Yeah. Yeah. But also, let me point out, if you want to spend a gap year doing absolutely niche and just relaxing, that is fine. I just wanted to always feel productive in the gap year, because I knew if I did nothing, I would feel like I've wasted it. Personally, because there's so many things that I've wanted to try out and do, and now I have, and I can say I've done them and I've loved them. I don't think if there's anything that I've done that I've just been like, oh, that's not a bit of me. But I don't think there is. But that's the joys of love and life. have to say, like, clubbing has obviously, I've been at a club too often. Might as well be at uni for how often I've gone clubbing this year, and I'm not complaining. I've loved every single time. Banging. Like I said, no responsibilities to be like, oh no, I have to rush home and do this assignment. It's like, nah, mate, I'm chilling. I start work at 6. I'm fine. Still having fun with friends. Great. We want to get deep, actually. I guess my sexuality has really become what's the word? I would say I've validated myself, but that doesn't feel but let's just say as a bisexual girl, there's always a lot of doubt in someone's head, mine specifically, which is just internalized biphobia, because if I find myself attracted to a man, I'm like, oh god, maybe I am just straight. And then I see a woman, I'm like, no. And let me just tell you, my sexuality got confirmed this year. Confirmed. I'm out and proud always. But yeah, I developed feelings for a girl for the first time. Which to a lot of people won't be like, this would like not feel relevant at all. But I need to burp again. Sorry, I just drank Fanta. I'm disgusting. But yeah, it's just nice to know that. Obviously, I always knew that I was attracted to women, but having feelings for someone just confirms it. And it was a great liberating feeling to be like, yeah, I do fucking like women as well. So nothing wrong with that. On that topic, went to a gay club as well for the first time, a gay bar for the first time. And do you know how insanely safe I felt walking into that and just being like, this is such a great place. I was a karaoke. I did the karaoke. It was just, again, just a lovely feeling to be like, I'm proud of who I am. Do you know what I mean? I hate to be cringe. I hate to be cringe. Fuck off. Yeah, that's been another great thing to just realise this year. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I haven't said enough, or I've said a whole lot of nothing. Um, Actually, there is a lot more to say. Fuck no. There's a lot more to say. I've been talking for probably about 40 minutes now. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. No one's gonna watch this. We will obviously talk about grief. Why not? It's what I like talking about. And a lot of people will be like, oh, here she goes on her about her dead dad again. Christ alive, shut her up. Guys, it's quite a big life event. Excuse me if I talk about it a lot. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I have a right. And if you think, fucking hell, she natters on, you lose a parent and you'll see. Alright? Don't wish on death on any of your guys' parents. I'm not putting that out into the universe. Just saying. Just saying. Obviously, beware of what you're saying before you say it. Yeah, like I've said many times, it was the 5-year anniversary this year. And you don't know, my dad passed away on my brother's birthday. So every time it comes round, there's like, it's a weird week because we're celebrating life, but we're also celebrating death. And it's very hard to compute that as a person, no matter what your age is. Especially when I was 13, I was a bit like, oh, how are we tackling this, guys? How's this going about? Sorry, coughed again. But yeah, it came around this year, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I grieve my dad every single day. There's not a day that goes by where I don't think about him. But like I said again, grief comes in many different forms. Whether I'm sobbing, whether I'm laughing, whether I'm doing all that, it's different. It's still a form of grief in some way. And the past few years, I say that past, fucking hell, I'm gonna burp. So sorry. Say last year, I don't think it really clicked in my head like the time of year, mainly because of A levels was going on. There's a lot of other stressful factors in life that was kind of taking over. Still celebrate my brother's birthday. Still thought about him. I'm sure. I can't really remember it, to be fair. But there's been a few years. It was like year one when it came around to a year. Obviously, that's really difficult. But we were in COVID when year one hit. Year two, it's like it's the second year. Okay, when it gets to 5 years, I think it hit me more this year, mainly because I'm realizing the difference and the things that he's missed, especially being on a gap year and being like, he can't see me doing all these fun stuff. He hasn't come to the Bird of Prey project because he can't, because he's dead. Right, I keep running out of storage, so fuck knows how long I'm going to manage to be able to speak. So I'm going to have to wrap this up shortly. Sorry. No one's angry about that, let's be real. Anyway, back to the dead dad. Crikey, what time to cut off? But yeah, he couldn't see me do all the fun things in the gap year. Do you know what I mean? He couldn't, like, it kind of hit me how much of my life he had missed at this point, because from the age of like 13 to 16, it's nothing he wouldn't have seen before. Um, Obviously, imagining COVID hadn't existed. But now, from like the minute you hit 17, you can learn to drive. Then you hit 18, you can go out. You're an adult. You can do all this stuff, and it's a whole different board game of life. If we're being deep, that he couldn't witness, and it kind of hit me this year how much that has affected me. And when it was when it was a week like leading up to his anniversary, I was a fucking mess. But like I said, when I get to that point, I will talk about it. I will write stuff down, and that's when I wrote my massive message that I put on Instagram, because I was just putting a lot of the things that I was feeling into actual words, and it just calms me down a little bit, because death is inevitable. Death is an inevitable. Well, yeah, it's there in the end. But yeah, it's something that everyone goes through, and how people deal with it. It's completely different, and it fascinates me, and it really intrigues me. And I like speaking how I deal with it, because some people might go, "Fucking hell, she's mental. She's making jokes about it. What a psychopath." Some people might be like, "It's a really good way to think about it, because death's gonna happen no matter what." Obviously, my dad died way sooner than I expected in life. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to all of our loved ones at some point, and to be ready for it, and then to just know how to handle your emotions when it comes to it. It's a complete. It's a very hard thing to do, and like I said, there's no correct way in doing it, which is why I like talking about it from my perspective, because a lot of people can go, "That's a nice way to look at it. Oh, I should maybe start doing that." But if you don't do it how I do it as well, that is completely understandable and fine. Death is just a crazy concept that humans will never get their head around, respectfully. So yeah, it's more managing the emotions than getting rid of them, because I would never want to get rid of my grief, ever. Because it's like Andrew Garfield said, I think it was, it's love preserving. You've got all this love for some person, and you can't put it anywhere now because they're not here. So you just got to keep it in with you and just make that positive change. So that's a really cheery note to end it on. If you guys have watched all of this, God bless. You owe me a tenner, because Jesus Christ, I shouldn't be doing this for free. Just kidding. But yeah, I did just want to talk about my gap year, and I hope people will actually listen and be like, "That's quite interesting," and it will save me from going, "No, I didn't travel." Right, I'm out of storage again, so this is goodbye. All right, thanks for watching. If you did, God bless. Don't subscribe, because this isn't going to become a regular thing. Love you.